Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. India celebrates National Space Day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi emphasizes on self-reliance in space sector. Says India to soon have its own space station. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar defends India's energy ties with Russia. Says New Delhi's oil purchases both in national and global interest. Trump warns Russia of sanctions if no peace deal made in 2 weeks. Zelensky accuses Putin of doing everything to stop trilateral summit. Russia says agenda not ready for Zelensky meeting. Khelo India Water Games concludes in Srinagar. Nearly 400 athletes take part in various water sports at iconic Dal Lake. Prime Minister Modi marked National Space Day, highlighting India's leap from Aryabhat to Gaganyaan. He said space reforms and startups are powering New India's dreams with ambitious plans for a human space flight and India's own space station. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya with this report.
India's tryst with the stars is now a story of courage, innovation and boundless possibilities. Marking National Space Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlighted the theme Aryabhat to Gaganyaan, ancient wisdom to infinite possibilities. Recalling his conversation with Group Captain Shubhanshu, Prime Minister Modi said he saw the limitless dreams of New India's youth. India today stands at the forefront of breakthrough technologies.
आज भारत सेमी क्रायोजेनिक इंजन और इलेक्ट्रिक प्रोपल्शन जैसी ब्रेक थ्रू टेक्नोलॉजी में तेजी से आगे बढ़ रहा है। जल्द ही आप सब वैज्ञानिकों की मेहनत से भारत गगनयान की उड़ान भी भरेगा और आने वाले समय में भारत अपना स्पेस स्टेशन भी बनाएगा।
The Prime Minister underlined that in the last 11 years, reforms have transformed India's space sector, opening unprecedented opportunities for young scientists, entrepreneurs and startups.
आज स्पेस टेक भारत में गवर्नेंस का भी हिस्सा बन रहा है। फसल बीमा योजना में सैटेलाइट बेस्ड आकलन हो, मछुआरों को सैटेलाइट से मिल रही जानकारी और सुरक्षा हो, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट हो या पीएम गति शक्ति नेशनल मास्टर प्लान में जियो स्पेशियल डेटा का इस्तेमाल हो। आज स्पेस में भारत की प्रगति सामान्य नागरिकों का जीवन आसान बना रही है।
Currently valued at $8.4 billion, India's space economy represents 2% of the global market. With ambitious targets of $44 billion by 2033, the sector is set to be powered by private participation. Already, nearly 350 startups are working across the ecosystem, with the government encouraging the rise of 5 unicorns in the next 5 years.
आज स्पेस डे के दिन मैं देश के स्पेस स्टार्टअप से कहूंगा, क्या हम स्पेस सेक्टर में अगले 5 वर्षों में 5 यूनिकॉर्न खड़े कर सकते हैं?
From Mars to the moon and now towards Gaganyaan, India's journey in space mirrors the spirit of a nation determined to push boundaries and inspire the world.
India's space sector is soaring. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has given a clarion call to the space sector to make sure that they have more than 5 unicorns in the country in the next 5 years. And the private sector are leaving no stone unturned to make India a major behemoth when it comes to the space sector economy. With camera person Uttam, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for TD India from Delhi.
On the occasion, ISRO Chief V. Narayanan lauded the development of India's space sector achieved under PM Modi's leadership, calling him a visionary leader. He said that one of the major recent achievements is sending one of our Gaganyatris to the International Space Station.
Honorable Prime Minister of India, who is a visionary leader, and our Minister, who has given directions and guidelines to carry out the space activities. It was Honorable Prime Minister who named the spot where the Chandrayaan-3 landed as the Sivasakti Point, also declared 23rd August as the National Space Day. One of the major achievements is the sending our own Gaganyatri to International Space Station, ISS. And it was again Honorable Prime Minister who has to be thanked. It was his idea that before sending the Gaganyatri through our rocket, we should send one of them to the International Space Station. And his vision led to a great success today. And Suklaji has gone to the space station and come back safely.
Earlier, Union Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh held an informal interaction with astronauts for India's first human space mission, Gaganyaan. Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, Group Captain Prasar Bharati Nair, Group Captain Angad Pratap and Group Captain Ajit Krishnan. They shared valuable inputs related to their training program as well as future events in the run-up to the Gaganyaan takeoff schedule for 2027. After the event at Bharat Mandapam, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla went to Nehru Planetarium where he inaugurated the Aryabhat Gallery. The gallery, named after the legendary Indian mathematician, commemorates India's journey in space. Shubhanshu Shukla's participation underscores the importance of the event in inspiring the public and future generations. The gallery serves to showcase India's cosmic journey from early pioneers to modern space missions like the International Space Station.
I've been talking about this since the time I went to space and I came back. I think it was a lifetime experience for me personally. But when I went to space, I was totally disconnected from everything that was happening here, back home. We did not have access to the internet and we did not know what is happening. But when I came back and I saw the excitement that was going on in the country, my friends who traveled with me, one from Hungary and one from Poland, and there was a lot of excitement for their countries as well. They were getting some messages. And when I came back and I showed what is happening here, they were kind of mesmerized. I'm so happy and so proud of all of you for showing so much of interest for this mission and space exploration in general.
Bringing space technology to the fields, Archery, a Chennai-based space startup, is transforming agriculture with its vision of Viksit Kisan. Designed for both farmers and organizations, CropScan also empowers field teams with real-time data, analytics and decision-making tools. Speaking exclusively to DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya, Archery CEO Bharat Chikanahalli shared how their innovations are helping sugarcane, maize and other farmers improve productivity and profitability.
The country is celebrating the National Space Day, and we thought of finding out exactly what our startups are doing in the field of space sector and how that is actually helping our country becoming a developed nation, as Prime Minister himself spoke about becoming a Viksit Bharat by 2047. I have with me this Archery, that's the startup. Sir, are you guys working in the field of space technology, helping the farmers?
So we are working on taking space technology down to the grassroots. Our Prime Minister's vision of Antyodaya is to make sure that the common man really benefits from the advantage of what the space technology provides. So what as you can see here, we work a lot with the farmers. We have started with Karnataka initially, but we are pan-India and we are also doing internationally. So what we do is we work with farmers to provide them visually how the plot is, the growth is happening, irrigation how it's happening, and provide them with advisory weather information.
You guys provide them what you call satellite images, and is it on a app or something like that?
Yeah, so they have an app it's a subscription-based model where they can see on their mobile every 10 days they get an update. It's a color-coded thing to break the literacy barrier so that they can understand very simply whether growth is happening, which part of growth is happening, where it's not happening based on remote sensing technology.
Okay, let me just check this. There's photos, there's videos that actually help. So let me just get a brief idea. This is how I believe this they are talking about. So this is a plot of land where one part is much more greener and the other part is light greener, which probably tells you that these are the areas which the growth is low.
Yeah.
Right?
So these are areas where growth is better and these are areas where growth is lower, and they get images like this way every 10 days.
Okay.
So looking at this, the farmer can know when he visits the plot where he should visit and where the improvement needs to happen, where he's losing money.
Okay.
And by continuously improving this way, he has data with him and he can continuously make more money.
So when people talk about that there is a chance that space technology is for the elitist, it is not for the common man. Well, hey, here is a startup which is doing exactly opposite. They actually are helping the farmers getting a better yield from their plot. With camera person Uttam, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for DD India from Delhi.
All right, and Mr. Ajay Lele, a space expert and also associated with Dr. Manohar Parrikar Institute of Defence Studies and Analysis, is joining me on the broadcast. Sir, a very warm welcome on the broadcast today. It's National Space Day, certainly a proud moment for every Indian. From setting up of India's space agency in 1969 to now on plans to set up India's own space station, how do you see the country's journey in space sector, sir?
Definitely, over a period of time, one can say that over a period of last 6 decades, India has come a long way as far as developments in space sectors are concerned. We started at a very nascent stage, one can say, and subsequently there were good leaderships which were there with ISRO, scientific communities right from Vikram Sarabhai onwards to Satish Dhawan, and at date, all scientists have contributed immensely to see to it that ISRO expands in length and breadth with a special focus on socio-economic development. So today also, if you see Prime Minister's speech, you will understand that he was speaking about data first, that is about the geospatial data. Just we saw how satellite imageries can help the farmers. Satellite imageries are helping disaster management agencies. So over a period of time, we have invested into the domain of a space because as a developing nation, we wanted to get assistance from science to develop our country further. And I think that's what the key of Prime Minister's speech also today, because now we are shifting from socio-economic development. I'm not saying that we are shifting, we are adding another feather to the cap by investing into private sector organizations, various other organizations. We have already taken missions to Moon and Mars. Gaganyaan is on its way. By end of this year, probably the first Gaganyaan mission without an astronaut will take off. Then subsequently, we got plans of establishing our own space station. So I think over the last 6 to 7 decades, we have come a very long way and in a very systematic fashion. The space program has essentially helped India's development model, particularly in a socio-economic sector. Education has been one of the most important areas where space has contributed immensely. And now we are trying to ensure that we will get benefits from a commercial aspects of a space too.
Talking about the commercial aspects, sir, how significant is the contribution of space economy to the country?
You see, as far as space economy is concerned, globally speaking, we hardly have got around 2% of the market. Like it was pointed out that around $5 billion market is there right now.
8 billion, I believe.
Expected to expand it to $45 billion
in the next decade. In the next
decade. So we plan to establish a proper space economy where we may be having around 10% of a market share globally. Because you see, last couple of years, particularly during last 7 to 8 years, space is expanding globally because of the arrival of a space-based internet. So satellites and other satellites are making a lot of headway as far as their development is concerned, design is concerned, and launching is concerned. So India has got possibilities of grabbing the market in both development of a satellite, building of a satellite, and launching of a satellite also, because we have established our small satellite launch vehicle also. Today in his speech, Prime Minister elaborated that now there is going to be a public-private partnership model where the first Earth observation satellite will be launched. Again, Prime Minister has said that the PSLV, which is one can say that one of the best rockets which ISRO has provided over the years and has given a lot of benefits. The first PSLV, which will be developed by a private agency, also is going to get launched in coming few months. So I think as far as private sector is concerned, ISRO is now transferring the technology to the private sector, and the startups on their own are also developing their own technologies. So this public-private partnership model is going to emerge in a big way, and India will have a major say as far as global aspects are concerned in the domain of space economy in coming decade.
Okay, sir, you just talked about the space economy. I want to ask you that what are the options and that are available with us through which we can boom our space economy?
You see, right now we have got a very interesting configuration of the startups. To have around 350 startups, as it was pointed out, is a very amazing thing. And they have just got there during last couple of years, and they are doing a wonderful job. Then we have established our own space policy also a couple of years back. So there is a clear guideline which is available for India's private sector, that how to invest into a space, which agency is going to do which all jobs. Other thing is that as far as ISRO's program is concerned, there is a lot amount of a diversification which is happening as far as sharing the technology is concerned. Because to have a startup with a limited infrastructure is one thing, and to have high-grade testing facilities availabilities are other thing. So all these startups require a certain amount of a hand-holding from ISRO, particularly in the arena of providing testing facilities, doing consultations and all that. So ISRO has also opened its door for all these startups to give them maximum assistance, so that in future ISRO can concentrate on their basic role of research, and the startups can take up the other jobs. And that's why Prime Minister pointed out that he wishes that at least 5 startups turns into unicorns within the next 5 years or so. So there's a lot of at stake, and a lot of interest and a lot of investments also happening as far as the startup domain is concerned.
Correct. And it's also booming the space economy. Sir, I want to ask you, what's your take on the collaborations which are happening? You know, recently when we talk about the Newshour satellite between NASA and ISRO, one of the biggest collaborations that we have seen, and one of a kind technology that has been incorporated, as far as the Earth observing satellite is concerned. 2 bands are there, the L band, the S band. And as far as the collaborations between ISRO and other countries are concerned, what is your assessment of that?
I think as far as ISRO's collaborations with other countries are concerned, we got a very healthy tradition. During 1970s itself, there was a lot amount of a collaboration with France, with NASA, with USSR in those times. Because if you recollect, in 1984, the first astronaut was sent with the help of USSR only. So there has been a very healthy tradition of a space collaborations. But owing to India's nuclear policies, India was put under technological sanctions. So for a couple of years, India suffered a lot. But that has also helped Indian scientific community to develop technologies on their own. Like the Prime Minister pointed out one system called semi-cryogenic engine which India is developing. This technology was denied to India during 1990s because the sanctions were put on India. So Indian scientists have worked overtime. We have already established our cryogenic engine, and now making a rapid progress as far as developing semi-cryogenic engines are concerned. As far as recent collaborations are concerned, the NASA ISRO satellite is one of the most unique satellites, as you pointed. It has got 2 radars. It's going to help us tremendously as far as identifying issues related with disasters, with climate change, how the ice shield is melting, so on and so forth. With other countries, particularly with countries like France, we have got healthy collaborations. Couple of years back, we have launched satellites to study the monsoons. There was a Megastar satellite which was Megatropic satellites which was launched. With other countries also, we have got very good collaborations. And it's nowadays not only a collaboration where India is gaining something out of it. Other countries, because of ISRO providing a frugal engineering and one of the most effective solutions for satellite technologies, other smaller countries also getting attracted towards India. And in those collaborations, they expect India to establish their own space programs and give whatever assistance which is possible over there. So the days are over where we are only depending on other countries for the collaborations. If India's collaboration with NASA also, it is a collaboration where we have gained something specifically from NASA. It is a give and take sort of a thing. We have all invested almost similar type of money in this project, and our scientific community also has developed something, and India has launched that satellite. So nowadays the collaborations, one can say with confidence, are at equal levels.
Definitely. So when we talk about any country's space journey, and here we are talking about India's space journey, there are some challenges which the agencies face, or during the journey the country faces? And when it comes to self-reliance, how is India tackling those challenges?
You see, it's a very correct question because challenges have been there, and space is one of the most unforgiving mediums. So if you operate in a space, you should be rest assured that there could be certain amount of a failures also. So as far as India's scientific community is concerned, just to put a point across, as far as Chandrayaan mission is concerned, Chandrayaan 2 was partially successful, but the ISRO scientific community worked overtime and they ensured that Chandrayaan 3 became a successful mission. And that's why today we are celebrating the Space Day, because this is the day 2 years back when Chandrayaan 3's rover and lander started operating from the southern pole of the moon. So there has been a lot amount of challenges which ISRO has faced, but ISRO has not shied away from any sort of failures. They have learned from the failures. It is very commonly said that it's always better to have failures because then there is a lot amount of a learning. As far as international collaborations is concerned, I already told you that there was certain amount of limitations because of India's nuclear policies, but India's scientific community converted those limitations into opportunities and started developing the systems on their own. So one can say with a lot amount of a confidence that today's space sector is one of the most prominent sectors in India where Atmanirbharta is actually there.
Yeah, correct. And PM Modi is continuously emphasizing, sir, on self-reliance in every sector, including space. So when we talk about the space sector, how will this help in strengthening India's capabilities and also in nurturing new talent within the country?
You see, as far as new talent is concerned, again, if you see Prime Minister's speech, there have been certain amount of indications. He's talking of an astronaut school. He's talking of Nation 2.0 missions which were conducted. Then there was a space hackathon which was there. If you see ISRO's trajectory of investing into scientific technologies and the students also, long time back, I think around 2005, 2006 onwards, ISRO started investing into student satellites. So today there are more than 10 to 15 satellites which have been developed by various engineering colleges, IITs and other things. ISRO has established its own agency in Thiruvananthapuram where technological training is given to the scientific community. So something akin to IITs where you give them the trainings into various departments of engineering. Here in space science itself, the training is given. So as far as attracting the talent is concerned, I think there has been a lot amount of efforts over a period of time. And if you see, as far as India's talent is concerned, even if you see NASA also, there are a lot of people of Indian origin who are only sitting over there. So right now, one can say with a lot amount of confidence that as far as India's space missions are concerned, the activities like Shubhanshu Shukla going to the International Space Station, it got far too many implications. Other than scientific implications, it has got motivational implications as far as youngsters are concerned. So there's a lot of people who are getting attracted towards it. Government has got a lot amount of policies to attract the new talent also. And because of the startups now, there are possibilities of having opportunities for employment too. Because in a couple of years back, if you are trained as a space scientist, other than ISRO, there were very limited options available, and that's why the brain drain was happening. But now with booming startups, the people who will get trained into space science and space technologies will have an opportunities either to start their own businesses or to join the existing businesses in India. So I think as far as scientific pool is concerned with a new talent, I think India could be said as one of the most important countries who is having a great amount of a gene pool as far as space technology and space sciences are concerned.
Definitely. We can't let you go, sir, without talking about Shubhanshu Shukla, India's hero. He just visited International Space Station, becoming the first Indian to do so. How will Shubhanshu Shukla's experience be used when it comes to Gaganyaan mission?
I think Shubhanshu Shukla's mission is a very smart mission, one can say, because initially started thinking of establishing and developing the space program where Gaganyaan mission will be completed by 2022. But because of COVID crisis and few other technological challenges, the mission has got delayed. So we already had a gene pool of 4 astronauts who were already trained. And we got an opportunity of trying to see to it that one of our astronauts can visit the International Space Station. Now the issue over here is that as far as India's Gaganyaan mission is concerned, it's not going to be just one of the missions. It's not going to be the mission just to prove to the world that we can send somebody to the space.
It's just the beginning.
The mission has got large-term implications, large-term policy perspectives which are involved into it. We want to establish our own space station. So to an astronaut who has already worked on an international space station, it actually boosts our capabilities as far as establishing our own space station.
Correct,
Because
correct.
to see something in a video and to actually go work over there in microgravity atmosphere, undertake experiments,
Yeah, definitely.
definitely will give a flipper as far as India's program of
Definitely.
establishing
Yeah,
space.
it is very clear that Shubhanshu Shukla's experience, will have benefits when it comes to India's Gaganyaan mission. We leave it there, sir. Thank you so much for joining in on the broadcast today. From dreamers at IIT Madras to pioneers in India's private space sector, Agnikul Cosmos is rewriting history. Headquartered in Chennai, the startup is building fully customizable and mobile launch vehicles for small satellites, making access to space more affordable and flexible. In an exclusive conversation with DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya, K. Anushka from Agnikul Cosmos shares how the team is bringing space within everyone's reach.
The world is moving towards making things simpler and cheaper, and space sector is no exception to that. In fact, Agniban, one of the space startup, is here, and they are making 3D printed engines. Am I right?
Yes, we're making 3D printed engines. All our engines are designed and manufactured in-house. We have a rocket factory in our facility in Chennai, in the IIT Madras Research Park, where we manufacture our engines. In fact, recently we've also received a US and a European patent for the single-piece 3D printed engine.
Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbharta. How this particular configuration, the 3D printed engines, are expected to be a major game changer in this sector.
So along with the Atmanirbharta, as you mentioned, and the Viksit Bharat vision that the Prime Minister has for India, what we are doing here at Agnikul exactly is we are looking to launch from anywhere, anytime and affordably. So with regard to the engines, like you asked, by being able to manufacture them, 3D print them, we're bringing down the manufacturing time and cost by 10 times lesser. So traditional engines take a lot of time to be manufactured and they have to be put together, then there's a problem with the reliability. So unlike what the traditional engines are doing, we manufacture them in a single piece. So all our engines are single piece 3D printed engines.
If there are any way you can have more satellites from outside the country also being launched, and from inside also being launched on your rockets?
So with regard to satellites from outside being launched, we're already talking to a couple of customers. We already have a couple of LOIs from customers outside India. And yeah, once we start our orbital launch, the idea is to start launching for those customers as well.
Right. So they're all set. When we talk about launching satellites, we talk about rockets. ISRO, NASA, SpaceX, they have a monopoly on that. We believe that Agniban, in a short while from now, is expected to break that particular monopoly and will be a name to reckon with. With Campus and Uttam, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for DD India from Delhi.
India's Postal Department has taken note of the Executive Order number 14324 issued by the US administration on 30th of July 2025, under which the duty-free de minimis exemption for goods valued up to $800 will be withdrawn with effect from 29th of August 2025. In view of the above, the Department of Posts has decided to temporarily suspend booking of all types of postal articles destined for the USA with effect from 25th of August 2025, except letters, documents and gift items up to $100 in value. These exempt categories will continue to be accepted and conveyed to the USA subject to further clarifications from Customs and Border Protection and United States Postal Service. The department is closely monitoring the evolving situation in coordination with all stakeholders, and every effort is being made to normalize services at the earliest possible opportunity. Customers who have already booked articles that cannot be dispatched to the USA due to these circumstances may seek a refund of postage. The Department of Post deeply regrets the inconvenience caused to customers and assures that all possible measures are being undertaken to resume full services to the USA at the earliest. Weather updates from across the country now. A cloud burst occurred at Tharali, located about 75 kilometers southeast of Rudraprayag in Chamoli district, Uttarakhand. Preliminary reports indicate damage to houses and vehicles in the affected area. One young girl has been reported missing. The Indian Army has promptly responded to the situation. A column of infantry battalion comprising about 50 personnel was launched from Rudraprayag. Additionally, a medical team has been mobilized from Joshimath, and search and rescue dogs with surveillance drones are being moved to the site to assist and provide relief. The Indian Army remains committed to providing all necessary support to the civil administration and local population. Standing strong in the face of disaster, Indian Army has activated humanitarian assistance and disaster relief columns, medical teams and search and rescue dogs from Rudraprayag and Joshimath. Army detachment at Tharali already at ground zero, extending immediate rescue and relief. Additional troops and resources from Prasar Bharati area are being mobilized and joint operations are currently underway with civil administration. Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami, expressed grief over the cloudburst that occurred late last night in the Tharali. On social media platform X, Pushkar Singh Dhami said, and I quote, "Late last night, a tragic report of a cloudburst was received in the Tharali area of Chamoli district. The district administration, SDRF and police have reached the spot and are engaged in relief and rescue operations. In this regard, I am in constant contact with the local administration and I am personally closely monitoring the situation. I pray to God for everyone's safety." Unquote. The weather in Uttarakhand has taken a drastic turn since this morning. Heavy to light rain showers are continuing across the state. Clouds have settled across mountains and plains alike. Heavy rain has showered Dehradun and several districts. The meteorological department has issued an orange alert for Uttarakhand. Some places of the region may experience intense to very intense rainfall. Since morning, several parts of Dehradun have recorded heavy rainfall. The weather department has urged people and tourists to avoid unnecessary travel and stay in safe places. District administrations have been advised to remain alert. A rescue operation unfolded in the Katwa district of Jammu and Kashmir after a car was swept away by strong water currents amid heavy rainfall and rising water levels. The incident occurred due to excessive water flow in a local stream following relentless rains in the region. Rescue operations remain underway in various flood-affected areas with the SDRF and local administration on high alert to prevent further mishaps. Heavy rain is most likely to occur at many places over Anantnag, Kulgam, Doda, Jammu, Kishtwar, Poonch, Rajouri, Ramban, Riasi, Samba, Udhampur in next 48 hours. Possibility of cloud bursts, flash floods and landslides in Jammu division. Administration has asked the residents to stay alert and dial 112 for emergency. And Dear India's Ankush Sharma is joining us live from Jammu and Kashmir on the latest with regard to the Katwa floods. Hi Ankush, what is the current situation right now and what is the weather advisory?
Siddharth, this morning we got a piece of information related to Kathua incident. A car swept away in heavy water currents and which leads a rescue operation in Kathua, and the car was captured by NDRF teams and SDRF teams, and also local people were also engaged in this rescue operation, and but in a very unfortunate that one person has lost his life in this incident. On the other side, administration already asked people to stay indoors, don't rush outside without having any specific reason. And this incident just happened just because the water level is increased in these areas, and the rescue operations are still underway in many places in Jammu division, and the places like Jammu, Rajouri, Poonch, these districts are already on high alert, and the meteorological department already predicted the next 48 hours is very crucial for Jammu division, because they have predicted a strong rainfall, thunderstorms, cloudbursts, landslides in the region, and that is why the government is prepared, and they have already directed hospitals to be ready and be prepared, because earlier we have seen few days back what happened in Chasoti and Kathua. So government is fully prepared here in Jammu, and many places is affected because of flash floods in the region.
All right, Ankush, we leave it there. Thank you so much. Fresh updates from Colombo with regard to former President Ranil Wickremesinghe arrest case. Ranil Wickremesinghe has been transferred to the National Hospital in Colombo due to health concerns. Prison officials said the decision was taken after medical assessments indicated that his condition required specialist treatment unavailable at the prison hospital. Wickremesinghe, who was remanded yesterday, was initially admitted to the prison hospital citing several health complications. The former president faces charges related to the alleged misuse of state funds during his tenure. Earlier today, Several Sri Lankan leaders visited prison hospital to meet Wickremesinghe. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Saturday said that the tariff issue was being wrongly presented as an oil dispute. He noted that the same criticism levelled at India for purchasing Russian energy had not been applied to larger importers such as China and European nations.
Same arguments which have been used to target India have not been applied to the largest oil importer, which is China, has not been applied to the largest LNG importer, which is the European Union. When people say we are funding the war or putting money in the coffers of Putin, India-European Union trade is bigger than India-Russia trade. So is American money not, European money not putting money into Putin's coffers?
Speaking at the Economic Times World Leaders Forum 2025, Jaishankar said India's priority was to protect farmers and small producers, stressing that New Delhi would not compromise on their interests.
In the negotiations, we have to be clear as to, red lines by definition are lines to be maintained and defended. Keeping that in mind, see what we get. And frankly, where we are concerned, the red lines are primarily the interests of our farmers and to some extent of our small producers. So when people pronounce that we have succeeded or failed or, where are you? The bottom line is, my counter question is, we as a government are committed to defend the interests of our farmers and our small producers. We are very determined on that. That's not something which we can compromise on.
On India-US ties, Jaishankar said talks were ongoing despite tensions.
Trump's way of dealing with the world, even dealing with his own country, is a very major departure from the traditional orthodox manner of doing so. I'm just giving you some examples. Say, the applications of tariff in this manner, even for trade, is novel. The application of tariffs for non-trade issues is even more so. The fact that a lot of this is said in public, often the first pronouncement is in public, is even more unusual. So this is a situation which the entire world is facing. Now, where we are concerned, I think we have at this moment three issues. First of all, trade. And I think, in my mind, that's really the major issue in terms of the negotiations which are underway.
Talking about diplomacy around Russia-Ukraine conflict, US President Donald Trump needs 2 weeks to gauge progress made in talks after his summit with Russian President in Alaska. Trump has also raised the prospect of imposing sanctions on Moscow. He was unhappy about Russia's strike on an American factory in Ukraine this week, which caused a fire that injured some of the facility's employees. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky, meanwhile, said on Friday that Russia was doing everything it could to prevent a meeting between him and Putin, while Russia's foreign minister said the agenda for such a meeting was not ready. Trump had taken sanctions off the table in preparation for his summit in Anchorage with Putin. But at the same White House event where he mentioned possible sanctions, he showed a photograph of his meeting with Putin on the red carpet in Alaska, saying Putin wanted to attend the World Cup 2026 soccer tournament in the United States.
I'm not happy about it, and I'm not happy about anything having to do with that. But we'll see what happens. I think in 2 weeks we'll know which way I'm going, because I'm going to go one way or the other, and they'll learn which way I'm going. Well, then I'm going to make a decision as to what we do. And it's going to be a very important decision, and that's whether or not it's massive sanctions or massive tariffs or both, or do we do nothing and say it's your fight?
On Ukraine's Flag Day, President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered a defiant message to Russia, vowing that Ukraine will never surrender its land to the occupier. In a bold speech, Zelensky praised the resilience of Ukrainian forces and citizens, underscoring the symbolic strength of the national flag, a banner of unity, defiance and freedom.
Цей прапор – це This flag is a goal and dream for many Ukrainians on temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine. They keep the flag. They keep it because they know that we will not gift our land to an occupier. This flag symbolizes the dearest thing for hundreds of our warriors, men and women, from all over Ukraine to defend not just a specific direction of the front line, not just Vovchansk or Dobropilya, but entire Ukraine.
Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin is hopeful of improving Moscow's relations with Washington, saying there was a light at the end of the tunnel in respect of their relations and that the two countries were discussing joint projects in the Arctic and Alaska. Putin visited the town of Sarov on Friday, where one of Russia's key nuclear weapons enterprises is located. During his visit, Putin toured an exhibition about scientific and educational infrastructure in closed cities. Both Russia and the United States have said they see enormous economic opportunities if they can normalize relations after ties plunged to a post-Cold War low because of the conflict in Ukraine. At a press conference following the visit, Putin said he was sure that US President Donald Trump's leadership qualities would help in restoring relations from recent lows.
I really hope that the first steps that have been taken are just the beginning of a full-scale restoration of our relations. This doesn't depend on us. It depends on our Western partners, first of all, in the wider sense, because the US are bound by certain obligations in various associations, including the North Atlantic Bloc. Therefore, the next steps now depend on the leadership of the United States. But I'm certain that the leadership qualities of the current president, President Trump, are a good guarantee that relations will be restored. And I hope that the pace of our joint work on these grounds will continue.
North Korea has called out firing of warning shots by South Korea as a deliberate provocation. The incident unfolded when some North Korean soldiers working in the border region crossed the military demarcation line between the two Koreas, and the South Korean military fired warning shots, with North Korean troops later moving back north of the line. North Korea also said that warning broadcasts from the South Korean military in the border region were increasing. Since last year, North Korea has been building barriers in the heavily fortified border between the two Koreas while blowing up inter-Korean roads and railways. North Korea said it will take corresponding countermeasure for any obstruction to the barrier building project and take no responsibility for the grave consequences if advanced warning in the border area is ignored in the future. And let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Multiple wildfires in Haria, Spain's Extremadura autonomous community, have been largely brought under control after burning for over 10 days. Some residents have begun to return home to attempt to clean up and repair damaged houses and farmland. Rescue teams will conduct air-ground coordination to extinguish forest fires. However, due to the extensive size of the affected area, firefighting efforts continue to face significant challenges. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupted again on Friday, sending lava soaring nearly 100 feet into the air. Known as one of the world's most active volcanoes, this was its 31st eruption since December. The lava flow stayed confined within the summit crater, posing no threat to nearby homes. The crystalline waters and mountain vistas of Bavaria's Eibsee Lake in southeast of Germany have become a hit on social media, fueling fears it will be loved to death by over-tourism. Municipal official Christian Andre said that he is glad people appreciate the lake, but also that the crowds now sometimes remind him of mass events like Bavaria's famed Oktoberfest. Oscar-winning actor Gary Oldman was honored on Friday with a hand and footprint ceremony at the TCL Chinese Theatre in Hollywood. The hand and footprint ceremonies at the TCL Chinese Theatre began in 1927 and remain one of Hollywood's most enduring honors. Actor Gray Oldman says he is honored, humbled and overwhelmed to be chosen to leave his mark in Hollywood history. And the Goods and Services Tax Council will hold its 56th meeting on September 3 and 4 in New Delhi. During the two-day meeting, the GST Council is expected to discuss the recommendations of the various groups of ministers it has constituted, including the issue of reforming the GST system into a two-rate structure in line with central government's recommendations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had in his Independence Day speech spoken about the centre's Deepavali gift of next-generation GST reforms. Later that same day, the Ministry of Finance said it had sent its proposals for a two-rate GST system to the GOM on rate rationalization. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell on Friday signaled a possible interest rate cut at the US Central Bank's meeting next month, saying that risks to the job market were rising, but also noting inflation remained a threat and a decision wasn't set in stone. US stocks rose after the remarks, and traders assigned about an 85% probability that the Fed would deliver a quarter percentage point rate cut next month, up from about 75% earlier in the day. Market bets also strongly favor a second rate cut in December. US Treasury yields dropped and the dollar slit. Next Fed meeting is scheduled for September 16 and 17. US would take a 10% stake in Intel under a deal with the struggling chipmaker that converts government grants into an equity share. The deal puts President Donald Trump on the better terms with Intel CEO after the president recently said the CEO should step down due to conflicts of interest. It will ensure that the chipmaker will receive about $10 billion in funds for building or expanding factories in the US. Intel stock rose roughly 1% in the extended session on Friday after closing up 5.5% during regular trading. Let's take a look at other stories now making news. India's premier investigation agency, the Central Bureau of Investigation or CBI, has registered a case against Anil Ambani and is conducting searches in Mumbai at the premises linked to Reliance Communications. The case involves an alleged fraud that resulted in a loss of 2,000 crore rupees to the State Bank of India. Parliamentarians pay tribute to former Lok Sabha Speaker Dr. Balram Jakhar on his birth anniversary in the Central Hall of Samvidhan Sadan in New Delhi. Jammu and Kashmir's capital Srinagar hosted the Mission Yuva Mela to encourage youth entrepreneurship and self-employment. The event focused on providing livelihood avenues and boosting young talent. Also, it aimed to inspire innovation and strengthen the spirit of enterprise among youngsters. In a first for India's space sector, a private consortium will build an Earth observation satellite system of unprecedented size and complexity. Valued at over 1,200 crore rupees, the project marks a major step towards ensuring India's autonomy in critical technologies. Speaking exclusively to DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya, Dr. Pawan Goenka, chairman of InSpace, highlighted how this initiative aligns with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of fostering 5 space tech unicorns in 5 years, hinting that India could see its first unicorn emerge by the end of this year.
Joining me is the chairman of InSpace, Pawan Goenka. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you here. National Space Day, second time we are celebrating it, and already we are seeing the buzz happening. You know, a lot of people talking about how India's space sector, especially the startups, have actually leapfrogged. Prime Minister Modi also mentioned the fact that it is time for them to become unicorn. How long do you think that will take?
The Honorable Prime Minister has given a very aggressive target today, that in 5 years he would like to see 5 unicorns coming from space. I hope the first one will happen by the end of this financial year. And once we achieve that, there are few in the line there. So I think it's an achievable target. It's not easy, but it's doable, and we will all work towards it.
So we saw, from 2014, the number was in the single digit. And now Prime Minister Modi himself said that it has touched 350. Where do you see the economy, space economy going, and how do you see India's startup culture going forward in, let's say, in the next decade?
Well, as we have said in the past, that we have set a target of $44 billion of a space economy by 2033. So we are on the path for that, and startups would play a major role in it. We have not segregated this much coming from startup or whatever. It's a whole of nation approach where everybody has to work towards it. But I think we have to fulfill the dream the Prime Minister has set in front of us.
It's a difficult target that he has set it, but also the Pixel-led consortium, that's a huge thing, 1,200 crore, it's a huge amount, and the government is now actually pushing the startups to come together and work together, isn't it?
Yes, of course. Look, the fact that the Pixel-led consortium came forward and wanted to do the whole project without any financial support from the government is a very big statement of the private sector, so startups' confidence in the space sector. And that really is going to be very encouraging for us going forward. and more companies are coming forward. HL has invested 500 crore for the technology. ATL is investing 2,500 crore for communication satellite. They are all big investments coming from private sector. Some of them are PSU, of course, but something that has not happened before. And again, I'm very encouraged to see this kind of excitement.
We have a lot of startup which works on cutting edge satellite, but when can we have something like a SpaceX in India soon? Agnikul is there. There are few all there, but can we have something?
I don't think we need to be thinking about SpaceX per se or a model that SpaceX has. Right. They have excelled in launch vehicles. Yes. There are many other parts of space where we could excel, and I think right now we are looking at almost all aspects of space, be launch vehicle, be satellites, the payload, ground stations, applications. We had a lot of discussion yesterday on applications, and therefore we would we would have large companies. Okay, I would not compare to SpaceX and try and answer when we'll have our SpaceX.
Right. Much appreciated time. So that was Pawan Goenka stating that Prime Minister has given a clarion call for becoming unicorn in 5 years. He said that by the end of this year we might have one already. With Camperson Uttam, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for GT India from Delhi.
You're watching DD News. Our time now for sport. And the 3-day Khelo India Water Sports Festival in Jammu and Kashmir held in Srinagar with over 400 athletes competing for 24 medal events at the iconic Dal Lake from 21st to 23rd of August. On day 2, Madhya Pradesh made a clean sweep of all the 4 gold medals. The festival also featured demonstration events like water skiing, dragon boat and shikara race. With the services team not participating, the focus was on states like Madhya Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Odisha and Kerala, which have produced strong water sports athletes. India's Elavenil Valarivan and Arjun Babuta clinched the gold medal in the air rifle mixed team event at the Asian Shooting Championships in Kazakhstan on Saturday. After topping the qualification round, the Indian duo defeated China's Lu Dingke and Xinlu Peng with a score of 17-11 in Shymkent city. This was the second gold medal for both players in the championship. The air rifle events came to an end at this edition of championships, with India winning 3 out of 5 available gold medals. India's tally has reached 11 medals with 4 gold, 1 silver and 6 bronze. The Argentine Football Association has confirmed that their national team led by Lionel Messi will visit India in November to play an international friendly match. The game will take place in southern state of Kerala. However, their opponents are yet to be finalized. This will mark Messi and the Argentina's first visit to India since 2011, when they faced Venezuela in a friendly in Kolkata. Argentina won that match 1-0. Messi led Argentina to the FIFA World Cup victory in 2022 and also won the Copa America trophy last year. The 3 matches are scheduled during the FIFA international window in November, with the other 2 games to be played in Angola. Indian archers stole the show at the World Archery Youth Championships in Canada on Saturday, bagging 3 medals including 2 gold. The Indian trio of Kushal Dalal, Mihir Apar and Ganesh Maniratnam defeated their German counterparts to clinch gold in the under-21 men's compound team event in Winnipeg City. In another celebratory moment, the India's compound men's under-18 team of Mohit Dagar, Yogesh Joshi and Devan Singh won gold after defeating the United States. On the other hand, the Indian women's recurve under-18 team of Gata Khadke, Gianna Kumar and Sharvari Shinde won the bronze with 6-0 win over the United States. The US Open is set to begin on August 24 in New York, bringing the curtain down on this year's Grand Slam season. The tournament is making headlines even before the first serve, with a record of $90 million in total prize money, the highest in tennis history. Both men's and women's singles champions will walk away with $5 million each, runners-up $2.5 million, semi-finalist $1.26 million, and doubles and mixed doubles champions $1 million per team. On the men's side, the spotlight will be on world number 1 Jannik Sinner, who is chasing a historic 3rd Grand Slam title of the year after triumphs in Australia and Wimbledon. While in women's singles, Aryna Sabalenka, the defending champion and world number 1, will hope to repeat her title run. Iga Swiatek, fresh from a Wimbledon success, will aim for a 2nd crown in New York and to cement her legacy across all surfaces. Al Ahly is set to face Cristiano Ronaldo's Al Nassr in the final of the Saudi Super Cup final on Saturday. After securing a dominant 5-1 win in the semi-finals, Al Ahly will hope to maintain their form as they prepare to face their arch-rivals in the final. On the other hand, Al Nassr head coach is confident that his side can win the season's first trophy despite the absence of the star forward Sadio Mane. Al Nassr will enjoy the benefit of youth support in final as fan favourite Ronaldo bids to win his first trophy for the club. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.